All right, last time we started chapter 3, and chapter 3 is all about parallel and perpendicular lines. We did a coloring sheet with a transversal. We need to make sure that you have one of those. So if you need one, let's make sure we get one of those today. So the first one we're going to talk about is in section 3.1, and it talks about parallel lines. And a reminder, of course, parallel lines are two lines on the same plane that never intersect. They're never going to touch. And remember, we don't have to write the word parallel anymore. We can use this long 11, and it's a little bit longer here than an 11. So that represents parallel, so we don't have to write it anymore. The picture of parallel lines looks like this. And one thing that I noticed on your test was that some of you were thinking that these end pieces meant parallel, and that had nothing to do with parallel. These are the guys that mean it's parallel in red. Those little double arrows that are somewhere on the line. That's what means parallel. These end pieces just mean the lines go on forever and ever. The next part is talking about skew lines, and skew lines are two lines that are not coplanar and that also never intersect. So how parallel lines were on the same plane, skew lines are not on the same plane. So these little planes here, like these little pieces of paper, L is on this, and if it kept going on forever and ever, it's never going to intersect with M because they're on separate pieces of paper. Those two lines are never going to touch, and those are called skew lines. In the next part, we get into our first postulate of this section, and it's the parallel postulate. So still talking about those parallel lines. And what it says is, if we have a line, so here we have a line L, and we have a point P, and this postulate tells us that there is exactly one line that goes through P that's going to be parallel to L. Similarly, in the next postulate, we have postulate 3.2. This is on the perpendicular postulate. So it again says if we have line L and point P, that there's only one line that exists going through P that's perpendicular to L. And remember, perpendicular means it makes this nice little 90-degree angle. In section 3.2, it really just picks up from 3.1. That's why we kind of put them together. And please use that colored sheet. So the one that I'm talking about is this guy right here, where we looked at a transversal and we looked at parallel lines and the angles that those were created. So it's going to be really important to still have that sheet and to still use it. Theorems. The theorems is what we're going to need from this section, and that's really all that it is. So when we do our proofs, we can see that 3.1 is talking about corresponding angles, and 3.2 is alternate interior angles, 3.3 is alternate exterior, and 3.4 is consecutive interior. And all of those are marked here again on this colored sheet.